Hi, Nick Dogle, North State Law, where we safeguard your professional license so you can get back to business. Today is video number 1 in our 3-part series of the top 3 daycare childcare license violations that can lead to a revocation of the facility or childcare home license. That's a lot. So 3 was staff-to-child ratios, 2 was lack of supervision, and 1, which was the highest likelihood of leading to a revocation, is unfortunately child abuse, child neglect. If you have a staff member that has committed a crime against a child and the abuse or neglect, obviously they need to be terminated on the spot. They need to be reported to authorities, and that includes the Division of Child Development Early Education. That's required to be reported to DCDEE. You can report to the police as well. Need to notify the parents, need to fill out an incident form report. And you also need to make sure that you have a floater that would come in and take over for that dismissed member, so you don't fall below the staff to child ratio. And it's one of those things where you're required to report this to DCDE. Sometimes in their mind, that's not good enough, which is difficult because you're complying with the requirement to report. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You had the proper background check for this employee. You know, you've got an update letter. You know, you've got that. You've had that for 7 years, which is now for the compliance requirement for the background checks. You know, so you've got all this stuff. You know, maybe that person's worked for you for 3 years, never a problem before, and then something happens and there's a child abuse. It's not an ideal place for anybody to be in, obviously, and it's a very serious thing to sit there and have to discuss. But unfortunately, this does happen. Thankfully, it does not happen very often. This is a rarity. So this is likely not going to apply, thankfully, to most child care facility or child care home owners. But if it does happen, that person needs to be terminated, removed from the facility right away. It's got to be reported. Police most likely should be called to address the matter with that particular employee as well. And then to make sure that you don't go under staff to child ratio, you know, a floater or somebody that's qualified and is eligible to work in your facility as a staff member needs to take over for that staff member that's being dismissed. So that's the most likely one that can end up in a revocation, and that most likely will end up with some sort of notice of administrative action for revocation. Now, at the end of the day, those can be resolved. Just because there's a notice of administrative action for revocation doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end of the road. There's other options, including a hearing. The thing to remember is you're going to get a proposed notice of administrative action. Okay, that just means that you can expect the notice of administrative action, and it's likely that they're not going to deviate from what they propose. Sometimes they will, but in particular to something so serious as this, the likelihood of them being the Division of Child Development Early Education deviating from what their proposal is, and that being revocation, is pretty low. But you can be prepared for it. You can have an attorney or yourself have a petition ready to go to file with the Office of Administrative Hearings. And you can, if you have an attorney do it, you can get it filed right away. You can file it same day, so you're not really skipping a beat. Now you still have to have everything posted at your facility per DCDE's instructions, but it's a way to keep you open and keep it going and explore all options that you would have available to you at that point. So if you got any questions on anything, feel free to check out my website. It's northstatelawfirm.com. You can also check me out on social media. I'm on YouTube, Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok as well now. If you don't find any of the information you're looking for on any of those medium, then go ahead and give me a call. You can do 919-521-8810. That is my office number, and we can set up a discovery call, which is free, free 15 minutes, and you can talk with a staff member about your matter and seek representation if needed, or just ask a couple of questions. We don't have a problem doing that. So everybody have a great day, and thank you so much for taking care of our kids. Bye-bye.